Did we really understand the depth of this partnership? Yes, we talked about this partnership, but did we realize where this boat is sailing towards? This short statement from Chris was on mark, or it says everything. But yes, we need further documents and facts to support that. But don't worry, we have that.
So we think that's maybe the biggest opportunity with Ripple. It federates the world's payment systems.
Was that fast? Okay, let's hear that again. Just 5 seconds, right?
So we think that's maybe the biggest opportunity with Ripple. It federates the world's payment systems.
Yes, I agree, because that is what is happening as of now. XRP is in the DNA, right? They actually stated here for the question, they stated directly this: XRP is in the DNA, meaning it's in the foundation, but it can synthesize different currencies, meaning that's interoperability. It can take in any other type of assets. So what is PayID? It is an addressing system giving enriched data for banks, regulators, for that aspect, and keeping it simple for the customers. Now this PayID is from NPP, meaning it's the addressing system of NPP. You can see that clearly here. What is PayID? PayID is the name of NPP's addressing service. So in short, it is an addressing system for one particular individual or an organization to execute a payment. So now what is NPP, right? It is the new payments platform. They are revolutionizing the back end processing. If you look here in the data enrich section, you can actually see that back end processing of payments. Did you hear that kind of molding of a statement with respect to Ripple previously? Yes, we did. Like we played that video in this channel too, right? Okay, now how does Ripple the company actually look at this? How does Ripple the company view this? It's positive for sure, because this is how they actually look at it. Anyway, the payments are going to be fast, it's going to be real time. But what you have to understand here is this NPP is something started by Swift. The industry in December announced Swift would lead development of a real-time domestic payment solution called NPP, New Payment Platform. So now you have a connection with Swift. This shows you how we are going to enter into Swift's settlement mechanism. Now, hope you guys are starting to see something here, right? Now, even if you don't worry. I'll make it clear with more documents, more facts coming up. Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, the first article from Ripple, which we saw, was back in 2015, and this one is in 2018. So in 2018, Ripple talks NPP again. They talks about the real-time payment. They talk about the Reserve Bank of Australia, their strategy to reach multi-trillion-dollar investment industry infrastructure over next 5 years. So that's, they are pointing towards 2017 back then. Now if we look, US Federal Reserve established its system. Now they are actually looking the adoption towards 2020. Now at the bottom, if you come down, you can actually see it's citing back to Bank of International Settlements. So that is like pointing the finger towards that area, right? So NPP doc says this is essential to its success, like it is PayID, right? So now how can we actually connect this, or why this is so important? Because when we actually look at this, we can actually say this is, say for example, PayID, right? As we stated, NPP's own document says PayID is essential to its success. Now why is that? Because this enables direct fund transfer for them. It's not only direct fund transfer, but unprecedentedly personal, secure and convenient. So it does that in this particular manner. So what exactly was PayID? It is an addressing system for NPP, right? Now this document is from Westpac, and when you come down, you can actually see that PID means a unique identifier linked to an account that can be used to receive payments through NPP. So now this is from a bank's perspective. What we saw previously was from a reserve bank, a central bank's perspective. Now this is a commercial bank. Here PID's requirements are these. It means the requirements set out by the NPP framework governed by the NPP Australia Limited, to which Westpac is a party. So now you kind of get this. This is also one part within the messaging system which actually enriches the data, meaning they have much more clarity about the data here. Now from there, if we jump into this particular data, this document from the Reserve Bank of Australia shows you, like, they actually talk. In this one, they really talk about Bitcoin, what it is doing, and what the technology is, its advancements, and a lot of disadvantages. But jumping into the conclusion, if you jump into the last page, you can actually see this alternative to Bitcoin. But if you really read through this, you can actually see that it appears to be Bitcoin's alternative getting most publicly, although it is not yet in operation back in that time. But now they understand that this is going to happen because that was developed by OpenCoin, meaning they are stepping back, looking at the origin and till that date how they actually progressed. So when they're actually talking about Ripple here, it's about Ripple Labs or Ripple the company. And keep in mind, whenever they talk about the virtual currency, they also use the name Ripple instead of XRP, because don't get confused in that particular area. Now, why these are actually important? Because previously we just saw what Westpac think about PID, then how it connects to the payment system from the RBA itself with respect to XRP and Ripple. Now this is another one showing Westpac says Reserve Bank of Australia issued digital currency would be boosting its blockchain. Now if you look here, which is highlighted, you can actually see they actually did trials using R3's messaging platform and Ripple's digital asset, which is XRP. In this one they mentioned Ripple's cryptocurrency XRP, and they understood how this happens. So they use this blockchain technology to transfer funds using XRP. Guys, this is a bank, huge bank, and they used this. And why did they actually use this? Because they really wanted to actually avoid this thing here, which is the Nostro accounts, right? So this removed the need for so-called Nostro accounts, which have traditionally provided the liquidity for them. So here the liquidity is being unlocked, and in their words it states the project was designed to help banks unlock liquidity and reduce cost of international banking using Ripple's distributed ledger and the domestic currency into XRP and send it cross-border and then back into their own currency. Wow. So this is not coming from a crypto-centric article. It's directly from Australian FinTech, and this is the statement from Westpac. For them, they have actually tested this and they are happy with this. Now, as I told previously, it's not only stating XRP in the RBA's payment system report. This is an annual report from 2018 of Reserve Bank of Australia. And when you move down, you can actually see they are talking about all the different aspects and move through different various points. But when we actually come down, okay, I'll just go into fine and put it Ripple. You can actually see they are talking about a Ripple along with Ether and Bitcoin. So they are not quoting XRP. Instead, they're using Ripple because both are same. I know many still in the community confuses with Ripple the company and Ripple the asset. I'll say Ripple the company majority of the time if I am connecting that directly to the company. Whereas if it is to XRP the asset, the actual name is Ripple. X stands for X actually stands to show that it is privately issued asset. Like it's not a government issued asset. Like I've stated previously a long time, like gold, XAU, it's XRP. So it's Ripples and not issued by government, so X. So it's actually a Ripple. The name of that is a Ripple. So keep in mind, they actually went through this, the cryptocurrencies, they actually detailed about how this is happening. And then what you have to understand is they actually went through all the different types of payment system. So now they understand how this helps. And at the bottom, when you come, you can actually see they were talking about high value payment system. And recently we heard that no, it's more about low value payment system, right? So in the high value payment system, there is one thing called RITS. So some of the payments in that one is actually going through RITS. Now, when you actually come to the downside, you can actually see that majority of the payment in the RITS is low value settlements. Getting something connected? Hopefully you guys should get these things connected. Now, this is another document from ING, and it also talks about PayID. Now, yes, these are a couple of years old, but it's not like gold. It's more than that, much more than that. Because when you go into that, you can see how they talk about creating a PayID and how you use that PayID to transfer it from one account to another account. And they, uses all types of definition. But this is kind of going back into what we stated previously using Westbank's document. It's more or less similar. But the reason I'm showing you guys this is becoming a standard in one way or the other. And when this is becoming a standard, I'll show you one more PDF here. This one is going back into the NPP and it shows you what happens inside that. Now, focus and look at this. Don't get confused. It has different sides. Say one is the payer here and the other one is payee. But in between, you have something else, right? So this is the bank's office. First message goes into the payments gateway. Look at that. And in the payments gateway, it has a connection with PayID, which is the addressing service. Who is doing it? What is his details? All the enriched data required for that. But at the same time, from that payment gateway, one goes to settlement request. So the settlement is being done separately here. Even though everything would be happening simultaneously, the project would be interoperable. As you can see, they are using ISO 20022. That's the global standard of the interchange. Now, why I am actually stating this, I'll take you guys from this particular point and jump back directly into what Ripple stated previously. NPP was something meant to be of Swift, or it is an initiative started by them. But now what you can see is Swift is still delaying on ISO 20022. They are slow for this, but the Australian banking system is going into this and they are ready for ISO 20022. So should they wait one more year for Swift to get on board? I don't think so, because they'll use the other messaging system which uses ISO new standard, and then another settlement gateway here for the faster settlement, which also abides by ISO 20022. So if you actually see that and move down, you can actually see next details, like how this is moving from first end to the end. So when you actually go into the end, you can actually see what they are talking about. They conduct stock markets, payroll, invoicing, those are future products stated at that time. So if you actually look at that, at the bottom of everything, you have the regulations, know your customer, anti-money laundering, blah, 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 which is becoming a standard. And at the same time, you're looking at the total ecosystem. If you have to connect that total ecosystem, you actually need to be interoperable. And that is the key, because what was happening previously, it's slow. And what is happening now, in the end, you get the electronic transfers, but just before that you're using PayID for addressing, but it comes after that, right? So batching, individual line by line settlement. So you have that new settlement system, and then you have the addressing system. So now the regulators would be happy. Now that's not me saying thank you, because the documents are not yet over. We have a lot more to come. Now, connecting with that, if you actually look forward, we got this one. Now this is actually from Jack the Ripper, and he's actually the boom comes with Jack the Ripper. And yeah, it's okay, it's cool, because that's actually happening. Those who understand the value will be excited about this asset. Anyway, now here it shows R3 Skoda is the technology used by both the project, which from Thailand, Bank of Thailand, trial the central bank digital currency for corporate payments. So for the corporate sector and for the Central Bank of Thailand, they are using this. Now this settlement, you actually know that they use XRP there, so the integration would be much easier. Now, why you have to talk about this? Because now this is separate a country. We talked clearly detailed about one nation, actually Australia, right? So at the same time here, this one is next, Thailand. Now we just talked about some domestic payment system in Thailand and Australia. Now what's happening here also is similar. Now you need interconnectivity between these nations, right? So back to the ILP, we are back into the interledger protocol, the interoperability layer, which is essential for ISO 20022. So you can't actually neglect that. Now this, is Christopher Green's. What I would like to say, you guys, is, maybe this will come true, but I won't actually say that wait for a year and you'll be billionaires. Because we are not actually sure about that. We don't know how the market cycle will be reacting. Truth is truth. Practicality should be actually viewed as practicality, because we are all human beings. We are investors here. Now we have our psychology. Don't let your psychological emotions overtake you as an investor, because otherwise you'd set a date or a time frame for you, say that in short term, 12 months really is a short term. And then if you won't achieve that target, you'd be disappointed, depressed, and you may capitulate some of your position. Now, if that happens within 1 year, I'm happy. We are all happy. But at the same time, do consider he's buying for huge amounts. So now if you're buying for 100K, that's huge amount of XRP in the number of units of XRP. But at the same time, looking from zero age, you can actually see this. Global stimulus so far in 2020 just reached around 19 trillion. Wow. 2020 is not over yet, and the pandemic, which is causing the economical crisis, is also not over yet. So if the Trump, what he stated is right, he's going to pump another trillion into the economy. And then if you want to keep the hose going, you'll have to pump much more. So that's only about Fed in US. The same will be going on all over the world, and the money would be like pumping, and it would be piling up. And then they are jumping into the central bank digital currency, which again they'll have to back up with all the central bank assets, central bank liability, and jump into new monetary system. Because in the current monetary system, if you're pumping money like you have diarrhea, that's not going to end well. We know the history, right? That's not going to end well. And this article from XRP Crypto Wolf kind of push back and connect us back to what we stated previously. Bitcoin is not a new type of money, like it's a new type of technology to exchange value, right? So if we are exchanging value, or in that aspect, we know that now we are looking at internet of value for value exchange. And when you go into that article, you can actually see that they are talking about money versus the exchange mechanism. They compares it. If you really look at that, I would actually say a much better thing will be XRP. Now they are using the BIS, Bank of International Settlements report, and if you actually go into that report, they are crystal clear about XRP as a payment mechanism. Now yes, they also highlight XLM for peer-to-peer transaction, not for the enterprise level transaction, but still they use that. So that's why I'm telling, even though I have majority of XRP, I look forward, or I have XLM or some other assets which I stated previously to some of the scientific investor family who asked about that, like ADA, XDC and others, but that's minute area of my portfolio. Now this one is from Fidelity Digital Assets. They kicked this out, and when you actually go into that podcast and listen to it, you have some key points there. But what I would state is the conclusion for me from this, it's gonna start. The new era of finance is getting started, and those institutional traders are actually coming in slowly. But based on what is happening now due to the economical crisis, that may push them to jump in much rapidly, because currently they are kind of coming in, dipping the toe and checking, is it okay? And then they will have to jump in. Remember, when they are jumping in, unlike the retail investors, they would be looking at the asset with real value and undervalued, mostly, or at least below the actual value so that they can profit from it, right? Which options would you actually think? Now, yes, they'll actually go into top 5, top 10, top 20 cryptos, but precisely they will be concentrating their focus of their portfolio into something which, yeah, of course, BTC will be there because majority consider it as a store of value, so it will be there. Ethereum will be there based on its smart contract platform and the adoption based on that, it would be there. But after that, at the top of the table for all the investors, investment firms, they already know bankers, central bankers, they know what's happening in the background. If someone from the BTC community is coming in and stating, no, this is happening and I understood this and I'm buying XRP huge, then for sure they are the guys, the real investors who are coming in, are already understood what the potential of this asset is. Now, many are still, fighting in the comments, and I'm really thankful for those who are supporting me, because some of the time, I get kind of busy in my university stuff and I couldn't reply on time. But some of the Scientific Investor family members are really helping me out, and thanks a lot for that. Now, guys, this video really took some time to go through all the different documents it took to, read them, find them, connect the dots, and arrange them in order. So if you like the content, please do support the channel, hit that like button. Otherwise, that's really rude. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support, and I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.